You know, in the mid 90s, there was an explosion of channeling. And all channeling means is you get a clear inner voice that speaks. So one of the expressions of that was this movement from what they called then third density to fourth density. And all third density means is the separate self. That's, in our language, we call that the separate self. It's the separate self who is in a win-lose metrics success story. Does everyone feel that? The separate self is in a win-lose metrics success story. And everything is about I. Am I getting my needs met? Am I being taken care of? Do I have control? Do I look good? I'm looking good, I'm in control, I'm looking good, I'm in control. I'm getting my needs met. What are my needs, right? And that win-lose metrics success story. Do I have enough? What's my status? What do I look like? Right? Living in that story seems like, well, I guess maybe you could use some therapy, but not such a big deal. What's the problem? Everybody lives in that story. That story is the source of the fundamental existential risk, the risk to our very existence, and the catastrophic risks, the risks that cause enormous suffering like a pandemic. They're all rooted in us living within that story of win-lose metrics success story. About 5-6 years ago, I was privileged. I invited my colleague and dear friend, John Mackey, who's the chair of Whole Foods Markets, who was at the time, it was his cadence to be his term to be the chairman of the Center for Integral Wisdom. And he came, and that's where I first met. I met actually a while before, but it wasn't my first deep collaborations with Barbara Marx Hubbard, with about 60, 70 other teachers from around the world. Ben Jealous, who later ran for governor in Maryland, and Jack Canfield was there, and a woman named Lynn Twist, who kind of works in more of the money field, and my dear friend Michael Bernard Beckwith, and a whole gang came together. Warren Farrell was there, Adam Bellow was there. It was an incredible cast of characters. Tony Hsieh from Zappos came, and it was just beyond it. Shep Gordon was there, and some of you were there. There's a whole bunch of us were there. And the entire topic of this Success Summit, we called it Success 3.0. And the idea was to look at the levels of success. Okay, I want to use this to set our intention today. And we called something Success 1.0. And Success 1.0 means it's pre-modernity, and I'm successful because I was obedient to God's will. And that's beautiful, because when the great religions expressed God's will in gorgeous and beautiful ways, that was fantastic and gorgeous. But it was, of course, limited as well, because the great religions often expressed God's will in distorted ways. They projected corrupt or distorted human will onto God. And that happened throughout the history of the churches. That was one of the tragedies of pre-modernity. But Success 1.0 means I'm obedient to God. I'm successful because I was successful in my obedience. And then along comes Success 2.0, and it's no longer about being obedient to God. It's the modern notion of success. I'm successful because I've accumulated goods and I've sold them at a profit, right? And therefore I've been successful. I've exerted effort, right? I've showed up for work, right? I've created commodities, I've exchanged them, I've gained a skill and sold that skill in the market, right? Those are the ways that I'm successful. So Success 2.0, although there are all sorts of other values at play in modernity, for sure, but ultimately the experience of success is, right, I am in a contemporary success story that's governed by win-lose. I'm a separate self. I'm competing against everyone else. I'm not part of. The universe is a mechanistic universe. I'm a cog in that universe, and if I can stand out and be successful, and again, governed by win-lose metrics. So it means within every company, within every team, right? Within every family, within every agency of government, within every department of every agency, there's always competition. There's always win-lose metrics, and I'm governed by whether I'm successful. So that's Success 2.0. And the entire point of this Success Summit that we did was to say that that's a disaster, that Success 2.0 will destroy society. that when there are thousands of people who are aware that a pandemic is coming in various agencies in government, no one's going to whistleblow it to the public because no one wants to lose their status in the hierarchy of success. Wow, that's shocking. That's a shocking reality. It's all about the individual success of the individual person. And so therefore, we're not warned about the pandemic. And in fact, all of the, for example, short supplies of masks were based on win-lose contracts for who makes masks, right? The entire movement which created the bioterrorism initiatives, which absolutely were related to the testing of the COVID-19 virus that was actually patented by the United States and was being developed in strange circumstances, to say the least, right? Was based on a win-lose metrics between countries, and the Chinese Communist Party not sharing information was based on a win-lose metrics. So we got to move out of that. That's third density reality, right? Fourth density, right, in this, right, image, and I'm just using this as an image, is the move from separate self to true self. And I'm one with the entire field of consciousness. And consciousness actually lives underneath and actually breathes reality into existence, which is the best, based on the best philosophical and physical information we have available. Based on all streams of data, that's our best understanding of reality. Consciousness underlies everything and breathes reality into existence. And I'm inseparable from the field of consciousness. That's the beginning of fourth density reality. But then I realize, fourth density, I realize I'm not just separate and I'm not just one with, that's doubleness. You get that? That's what Christina Tell was talking about. I got to get to the triple. She comes in threes. So I move from separate self to true self. And what's the third? Unique self. Right? I'm not separate from the larger field. I'm one with the larger field. That's not separate one, but I'm also not absorbed in the larger field, right? I'm a unique expression of the larger field. I'm an individuated expression that's irreducibly unique of that larger field. I'm literally reality having a joy-saying experience. Reality is having a joy-saying experience. And so don't get lost on the missing tile syndrome. What's the missing tile? Where's my missing tile? I'm focused on the missing tile. No, focus on reality's having, oh my God, a Christina Tahel experience. Reality's having a Lirazi experience. Reality's having a Mark experience. Reality's having a Sally experience. I'm part of the field. I'm in devotion to the field. She comes in threes. I'm the third. I'm the paradoxical expression of sameness. I'm the same. I'm one with, and yet I'm distinct from, I'm separate. What's the resolution of that? Uniqueness. And that's a gorgeous idea. I mean, it's huge. It took me 20 years to understand that clearly, that actually separateness and uniqueness are not the same thing. That actually the third, this fourth dimension, this fourth density reality, when I actually live from a consciousness, right, of unique self, and then I deepen my density, as it were, my thickness, my depth deepens, and I realize I'm not just a unique self, I'm a unique self living in an evolutionary context. I have an evolutionary relationship to life, that actually the entire pulse of evolution lives awake and alive in me. So I'm evolutionary unique self, right? I'm Homo sapien, separate self would be third density. Fourth density would be Homo amor, right? Homo amor. And Homo amor means, right, I'm a hero, right? The hero is the early adopter, as we heard last week in the Dharma recapitulation of Homo amor. Homo amor means I'm living a different quality of consciousness. It means I've absorbed everything that's come through me. Everything that's come before lives in me. The animal lives in me. Plant conscious lives in me. The animal conscious lives in me. There's much more continuity between animals and human beings than we once thought. There's enormous continuity and there's discontinuity. There's a momentous leap forward in human consciousness. But human consciousness got to embrace all of the animal. And the animal means the feeling of self-evident goodness when we touch each other's hearts, when we touch each other's bodies, when we touch each other existentially and intellectually. All of that lives in me. So I'm evolutionary unique self. I've got in me my distinction. I'm one with the larger field of consciousness. I experience the inside of the larger field of consciousness as being exploded with love. I know that love is real, I can actually answer the question of, I want to know what love is. But I know love is absolutely real. It's not a social construction, right? It is that which governs all of reality. And I'm a unique configuration of love. I'm a unique configuration of the evolutionary love that animates all of cosmos. I'm a unique configuration of intimacy and desire. So, wow, right? Those are the beginning of what we call first principles. Here we are. Here we are moving into this new identity. And knowing about this new identity, becoming and living and incarnating this new identity, articulating it and sharing it with reality is the Da Vinci move at this moment in history. We're literally between utopia and dystopia. We could go down. This could be the end of humanity, or we could ascend, right? We could actually incarnate the best possibility, right, of consciousness that's ever breathed, right, in the history of this planet. And which way we go depends absolutely on us. And on us, I actually mean, yes, on lots of us all over the world, but also in a real way on us here at Evolutionary Church. Our ability to actually take the best of religion, pre-modern, and the best of modernity, and the best of postmodernity, and to integrate it in a new story is the Renaissance move at this moment of time, in this time between worlds and time between stories. So today, we're going to hear from Barbara. I'm so excited to hear from my evolutionary partner, Barbara Marks Hubbard, who's with us every week. Literally, it's not over when it's over. It's not over when it's over. When I say Barbara's with us, I don't mean it figuratively. I mean, Barbara's literally with us. She's with us. She's participating with us. And we hear her voice from earlier recordings, but we feel her. I feel her with us. And I feel her with us here. It's not over when it's over. Death is a night between 2 days. So we're going to talk about, right, this new vision of spirit, the planetary Pentecost. We're going to talk about today, which is this incredible portal in time, which is called Rosh Hashanah, which is it's the second day of the Hebrew linear lunar New Year. And we're going to talk about what that means and what the shofar means. What does the shofar mean? And what's the mystery of shofar, which is a pre-modern religious idea. We're going to take it and integrate it right into the larger vision, right, of Homo, amor, together with Barbara's vision of planetary Pentecost. And we're going to talk about our vision for the entire year, right? An insane and gorgeous vision, and invite you, us, we, to participate together. We're taking the whole thing to the next level this year. So let's set our intention. Here's our intention. Every week it's the same, but it's deeper, right? It's unique, right? The moment's open. COVID's real. The pandemic's real. And by the way, it's not over. And keep social distancing and keep precautions in all ways. And there'll be more pandemics to come, right? And there's suffering which is beyond imagination on the planet now. If you read Nicholas Kristof's column, everyone should read it. Look it up online. It was this past Wednesday in the New York Times. He talked about the unintended side effects of COVID around the world in the most vulnerable populations. And the side effects are suffering and death that are happening in this second. And so we're one breath with that. We're one heart with that. We're one love. We're one communion. And as we're evolving the name, right, we started as Evolutionary Church because we wanted to get evolution and church together, and we wanted to bring church back in. And we went to one church, many paths, one mountain, because we wanted to get the sense of one. And then we realized church is too narrow a term. We want to have a broader tent, a broader communion. So we're moving to, and we're actually going to change the website. Everyone came together and there was a vote. And you guys, when we met a few weeks ago, people expressed their preferences and there were lots of meetings and everyone collectively decided it's one communion. One communion. We can write in the chat box, one communion, many paths, one mountain. So in one communion, many paths, one mountain, we set our intention. And I with your permission, right? Your permission, gently, gentle. Let me ask the question we ask every week, and write it in the chat box. Don't wait for me. Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready to play a larger game, to move from third density, right, to fourth density? Are we ready to move from Homo sapien to Homo amor? Are we ready to be the first principles, to articulate the first principles? Are we ready to participate directly here in this revolution, right? In many paths, one mountain, in this revolutionary energy, because it's the energy of radical insight and radical commitment and radical revolution, where we actually know it depends on us. Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready to participate? in the evolution of love. Oh my God. Yes, 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 and yes again.